What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that your thumbs and fingers, index, clicker fingers, are not too sore from deleting Black Friday emails. It's that day. It's this day, and sometimes that's just the way things go. It is Friday, November 28th, 2025. And as yesterday was Thanksgiving Day, and as the Dallas Cowboys won on Thanksgiving Day, beating the Kansas City Chiefs, today is Victory Polo Monday. So a very happy Victory Polo Monday from me to you. It is a Friday edition of Victory Polo Monday. This three-game winning streak the Cowboys are on has featured some awkward and alternative Victory Polo Mondays. We had a Victory Polo Monday on a Tuesday after the Monday Night Football win. We did have an actual Victory Polo Monday on a short week this Thanksgiving week, and then obviously this Victory Polo Monday on a Friday, Black Friday as it may. This is the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel where I talk about the Dallas Cowboys basically 24/7, 365. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. Please like the video while you're at it. You can also hang out with me on any level of social media. I'm on X, Instagram, and Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. Go like my Facebook page that is popping off as of late. Follow me on LinkedIn, whatever you want to do. Just please hang out with me somewhere on the internet talking about America's team. The links to all these things are down in the description below, by the way. It is our day after assessment, discussion, kumbaya, whatever you want to call it, relative to the Cowboys. And it feels like we're out of breath because this has been a bit of an onslaught within 11 days, an 11-day total span, beginning with that Monday night win for the Cowboys against the Las Vegas Raiders. Dallas doubled their win total on the season. They began that Raiders game, that Monday Night Football game, with a 3-5-1 record. And here we sit on Black Friday with the Bears-Eagles game actually about to start. I've got Utah, Kansas on my iPad over here. I got all sorts of football and things I'm monitoring. I had the Skins game going this morning, Arizona State women's basketball, Friday afternoon. Time is irrelevant at this point in time. The Territorial Cup tonight. I mean, there's sport. I think I saw there's something. I saw that there are 71 sporting events between collegiate athletics and professional athletics on Friday, November 28th. So it's a busy day, and that has made time kind of blend together. And so with respect to the Cowboys, they were 3-5-1 like 5 minutes ago, and boom, they are 6-5-1. They are squarely in the playoff hunt. And I want to say that again. The Dallas Cowboys are squarely and legitimately in the playoff hunt. They are still obviously on the outside looking in. They still obviously need some help, but they have put themselves in a position to where you can say the sentence, the Dallas Cowboys are squarely in the playoff hunt, and it is legitimately real. It is objectively sound. It is not wish casting or manifesting. There are some wish casts and manifestations within, obviously hoping things break in the Cowboys' direction, but they have put themselves in the conversation as everybody's Christmas decorations, I guess, go up from the perspective of people approving of them, just because I know that's kind of a stressful or debatable subject around Thanksgiving. And they've made things a lot of fun as a result of it. There's a lot of questions that we get this time of year when the Cowboys are in the mix in terms of who to root for. You may be watching this after the Black Friday game, so I think that this will be interesting to listen to, just because right now the game's about to begin, and you could argue that we're emotionally compromised because we emotionally want to see the Eagles lose. We emotionally would love for the Eagles to toil and squirm and have to stew on not just blowing the 21-0 lead against Dallas, but against losing to the Bears. And if the Eagles do lose this game, if they have lost this game by the time you're watching this, then they will be 8-4 and the Cowboys 6-5-1 and technically within striking distance. Now, I maintain that it is very unlikely, even if Philadelphia does lose or did lose on Friday to the Chicago Bears. They just have too large of a lead within the division, and the tie kind of works against the Cowboys. It works for them in different respects, obviously. But I just don't think that that's possible. And so I think you can make an argument, and maybe you're catching this video after the Bears lost and the Eagles won. I think you can make an argument that it makes more sense for the Cowboys relative to their most likely path to the playoffs, because I understand, I'm with you. We all fully get that, technically speaking, the Cowboys could win the NFC East. I understand if you don't want to let go of that until it's fully, time to do so, until, they've handed out caps and t-shirts. But the most likely path, the most probable path to the playoffs for the Cowboys, if they wind up being a playoff team, is as a wild card. So you can make the argument, obviously, that Philadelphia beating would-be wild card contenders. It's what's best for them. We had this same discussion and argument a few weeks back when the Eagles played the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. The Eagles won that game, and that technically worked out better for the Cowboys, not only from a wild card perspective, but relative to Green Bay specifically, the draft capital, given that Dallas holds their first-round draft pick in 2026. So the fact that we're having these conversations again is awesome and is fun and is what we hope for. And I know that we just kind of are going around in this circle where we're excited about the Cowboys, but we're afraid to believe, and then we're excited about them again, and they're giving us more reason to believe. But I do think that what we are seeing from this team is real and legitimate. Think about this for a second. This Cowboys team now has just ripped off a level of success that we thought was impossible. Consider this, all right? Every year from 2016 through 2023, the Dallas Cowboys had at least one 3-game winning streak at some point in every season: 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2021, 2, and 3. At some point in each of those seasons, the Cowboys had at least a 3-game winning streak. They did not have that kind of winning streak in 2024. Now, to be clear and technical, they did win 4 games in a 5-week span, but they won 2, lost, and then won 2 more, but still technically never had a 3-game winning streak. And so the Cowboys now have a 3-game winning streak. That is a powerful thing, not only in an emotional sense, but in a mathematical sense, right? It has put the Cowboys in this playoff conversation. And so if you are feeling like you are feeling something that you haven't in a while relative to the Cowboys, that's real, that's legitimate, because it did not happen at any point last year. So they have done something that they did pretty frequently, pretty commonly for basically a decade that they didn't accomplish last season, and they have done it once more. That has given them an opportunity that has worked out in their favor, mathematically speaking, one more time. And that is a cool thing as the Christmas season approaches. Now, I think that we have to give a lot of kudos to George Pickens, obviously, but I think that the type of kudos as Kansas just scored, they're keeping my Big 12 championship hopes alive for the Sun Devils. But as I've got my iPad over here where I'm pulling up my other monitor, I don't think that we fully understand what George Pickens is doing. And I say that with respect to all of us. Like, this is very, very, very special steps. I'm going to put this on your screen right now. One more click, and here we go. Okay. What you're looking at right here is a list of 6 wide receivers. These are the 6 wide receivers, 6 players since 1970 who had at least 1,100 yards receiving through their first 12 games with an NFL franchise. That could have come their rookie season. You see Odell Beckham Jr. on this list, obviously, or it could have come in their first 12 games with a new team. You see Devontae Adams when he joined the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, you see Randy Moss when he joined the Patriots, T.O. when he joined the Philadelphia Eagles. George Pickens is on this list. In his first 12 games, which he obviously just played number 12 on Thanksgiving Day against the Chiefs, he has 1,142 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. This is absurd. Again, this list is only 6 players long. Only 6 players have had at least 1,100 yards receiving through their first 12 games with a team. And again, the fact that Odell Beckham Jr. is on here as a rookie is all the more impressive with regards to what he did in 2014. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about George Pickens. He is quite literally a revelation for the Dallas Cowboys, and that he is doing this in an offense that also features CeeDee Lamb and also features the production that Jake Ferguson has offered this year, also features the production that Javonte Williams has offered this year, that features Dak Prescott at the helm. It is very, very, very exciting. I know it is beyond obvious to say that the Cowboys must re-sign, must extend George Pickens as soon as possible or in the offseason, but I'm going to underline it a few more times. I'm going to circle it. I'm going to get some highlighters and some Sharpies and some stickers and make sure that that point is understood. What George Pickens has done is extraordinarily rare. These are the only 6 players to do this since 1970, and we're looking at some all-time names here. All right, so George Pickens is essential for the present and the future of the Dallas Cowboys, and the proof is very, very, very much in the pudding in this respect. Now, there are a few other things, one more thing in particular that I want to take a look at with regards to George Pickens, because I was looking this up, and I've mentioned this to you many different times. I love looking up different things, statistical landmarks, statistical points of production relative to the Cowboys or what the Cowboys are doing against their own franchise history or NFL history. And I wanted to look at George Pickens with regards to team history. So George Pickens has north of 1,100 yards. I'll try that again. Like I said, it's a busy day. George Pickens has over 1,100 yards receiving through the first 12 games of the season for the Dallas Cowboys. Since 1970, he is now one of only 4 players in franchise history to do this. This being having at least 1,100 yards receiving through the first 12 games of a given season. You are looking at some all-time Dallas Cowboys seasons here, right? Michael Irvin in 1995, obviously the last time the Cowboys not only won the Super Bowl, but appeared in the NFC Championship game. We've discussed this a million times. You're looking at T.O. in 2007, arguably the greatest Dallas Cowboys team to have failed to reach the NFC Championship game throughout the entire drought era. And CeeDee Lamb in 2023, which could be argued as the greatest individual statistical season that any Dallas Cowboys wide receiver has ever had. And I think that that's the note that's worth looking at. And I don't say this in any way to stir up drama, but really just to highlight how incredible it is that these two players are teammates and on the same offense at this point in time. George Pickens in 2025 is almost running step for step with CeeDee Lamb in 2023. Again, what you're looking at statistically here from a numerical perspective are their performances. Obviously, for George Pickens, it's the totality of the season to date, but that was CeeDee Lamb through the first 12 games of the 2023 season. Pickens has 40 fewer yards, but he has one more touchdown, one more receiving touchdown to be very clear here. So you're talking about almost a carbon copy of the season that CeeDee Lamb was having at this point in 2023. That's what George Pickens is doing here in 2025. It is remarkable. It is amazing. The front office deserves enormous credit for pulling the trigger on that trade. We'll give them even more credit if they get a deal done at some point in the future. But what we are seeing from George Pickens in 2025 is very, very, very special with regards to Dallas Cowboys franchise history specifically. Now, Pickens isn't the only player for the Cowboys having incredible success relative to the past. I do want to spend some time talking about Dak Prescott because how could you not? So Dak is on fire, to say the least. And Dak is, the straw that stirs the drink. That kind of goes without saying. But Dak Prescott is benefiting from George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and all these different things. But still, he is the one who is ultimately pulling the strings. On Thanksgiving Day, Dak Prescott reached 25 passing touchdowns on the season. This is the 5th time since 1970 that a Dallas Cowboys quarterback has thrown at least 25 touchdowns in a season. And actually, no, I've got this wrong. I'm all lost in my own numbers. Forget what I just said. I'm not even going to cut this. I was all confused. This is the 5th time that a Cowboys quarterback has done this through the first 12 games of a season. I knew that. I wrote it in the article. I'm hoping that Kansas can shut down Utah here. That's really what's in my head, if I'm being fully and totally honest with you. So to reset here, all right, Dak Prescott has become the 5th Dallas Cowboys player to throw at least 25 passing touchdowns through the first 12 games of a season. He obviously reached this mark on Thanksgiving Day against the Kansas City Chiefs. You're looking at a list that features, and again, this is only since 1970, although passing and throwing the ball was, happening at a much lower frequency relative to any time before the merger. You're looking at 2007 Tony Romo. You're looking at 2008 Tony Romo. It is amazing that the 2008 Cowboys missed the playoffs. I will never be over that. 2014, so you're talking about some very, very, very special seasons for the Dallas Cowboys here. In 2023, Dak Prescott, who finished runner-up, in the MVP voting and lost to Lamar Jackson. These are in the drought era. These all obviously have occurred in the drought era for the Cowboys. These are arguably the 5 greatest individual statistical seasons that stand out the most. Now, there have been other seasons for the Cowboys in the drought era that have been prominent. Obviously, we could talk about, 2016 or 2018, either 2021 or 2022. But these are the seasons. And I would put 2008 on that list, even though the Cowboys did not even make the playoffs because they were inordinately talented. That's one of the most talented Dallas Cowboys teams to not even make the playoffs, let alone not win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, what Dak Prescott is doing here is literally in the company of some of the greatest seasons that a passer has had for this franchise specifically over the last 30 years. And that is remarkable. That is amazing. That is commendable. I think he should be back in the MVP conversation. It's silly that he kind of, floated out of it, although we understand why that was the case. But he is in nirvana right now. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, it is stupendous what we're seeing from Dak Prescott here in 2025. It is just, I mean, I think that, and I say this, and I had this, my little flub where I'm keeping one eye on Utah here. I'm just, come on, I need them to lose. But I think that we're all kind of, in the past, I think we've all been afraid to believe in the Cowboys because, Lucy always pulled the ball out. I think that if there is some sort of ceiling on our emotions or our emotional latitude relative to what the Cowboys are doing right now, I think we're all worried that they may be dug too deep of a hole, that maybe it may not be enough. And I think if they win out, obviously they'll reach 11 wins on the season, and that should be enough. But that's talking about winning out, right? They've got at this point, they've got 5 games left, and if they get to 11, 5, and 1, that's probably enough. But what if it isn't? What if they drop one game? If they dropped one game across their final, what would that be? We're talking they've got 5 left. They've played, 3 since the bye. If they dropped one of their final 8 games, that would be very impressive. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be like highly commendable stuff. And that might be the difference here. So I think we're all kind of naturally worried that maybe the hole was too deep, too steep. And that's kind of hard to let go out of the back of your mind. But I think that where I've landed with the Cowboys in terms of what they're doing right now, I'm just I'm truly right. Like, I think in the past, we've always been focused on, okay, well, they have this many to go. This is their magic number to win the NFC East. And, 2 years ago was, oh my goodness, it's going to work out for them because they beat Detroit and they're going to take the 2 seed. Right now, more than I have at any point in recent history, talking about myself here, I am just enjoying the ride. And I obviously, it goes without saying, want the ride to be something that culminates in a playoff berth and in a perfect world, playoff success. But man, I am just enjoying the ride. This is a team that took us to a place where we were not enjoying what they were doing. We were not having fun. And so I do kind of feel like a kid again. I feel like, man, this is fun. This is, my emotions are really riding with what they're doing, obviously throughout games, but, in the weeks that lead up to them now, I mean, I can't tell you, I think you agree how excited I am for next Thursday night when they play the Lions. It's going to be so much fun to see if they can, continue to add to all this and ride the momentum. And if they do, we'll believe all the more. But I am just really having so much fun. And it had been a long time. And I don't want to speak for you, but I think that a lot of you agree. It had been a long time since this was this much fun. And for that, obviously, it's topical given the Thanksgiving of it all. I am particularly grateful. As we close, because it's time to get out of here, I got to make sure Kansas can pull this thing off because I'm very nervous at this point in time. I'm wearing my classic Cowboy hat. Dallas Cowboys players love Classic Cowboy. I love Classic Cowboy. Hopefully you love Classic Cowboy. These hats are amazing. I have them in all sorts of colors. I cannot recommend them enough. Every week I do a Classic Cowboy moment of the week. My Classic Cowboy moment of the week for Thanksgiving and the Cowboys Thanksgiving Day win against the Kansas City Chiefs belongs to Kevontae Turpin. There were a lot of amazing moments, obviously, on Thanksgiving, and we could pick from a number of them. That's what makes doing this at a time like this so much fun. But Kevontae Turpin kind of saved the day. The George Pickens fumble was not ideal. It didn't really feel dramatic because Kevontae Turpin recovered the fumble so quickly. But I think for that brief moment in time, we were all holding our breaths and hoping, oh my goodness gracious, this cannot end this way. Not like this, not like this. He can't keep getting away with this. Shout out, of course, to Jesse Pinkman. So Kevontae Turpin jumping on the fumble was a massive deal. Kudos to him. Kudos to the Cowboys. Kudos to Classic Cowboy. Go get your Classic Cowboy. I love them. I love everything they do. And I love you. And I love Kevontae Turpin. So that about does it. And man, Utah just scored. Why? Why can't it just work out? Why? I just want all my teams to win. Why can't that be the case? I know my team isn't technically playing, but my team needed Utah to lose. But there's still 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes and 14 seconds left. Whatever. All right, let's go ahead and let's get out of here. My name is RJ Ochoa. Hopefully you're not a Utah fan, because if you are, then I'm real pissed off. But if you want to tell me you are on any level of social media, X, Instagram, and Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. Go like my Facebook page, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com is how you can email me as well. You can also leave a comment down below, and I'll do my very best to get to those as well. You can, tell me if you watched this before or after the Eagles-Bears game. As I say this, I've been keeping too much of an eye on this Utah-Kansas game. There are 9 minutes left in the Eagles-Bears game in the first quarter, not in the whole game. And the Eagles are facing a 2nd and 5 from their own 30. Let's see how this goes. And I think there's a false start. So this bodes well. Hopefully you're checking this out after the Eagles lost, and we just get to enjoy the next week with all sorts of fun stuff. I'm going to go make some leftovers. My wife and son and I are going to put up all the Christmas decorations. It's just going to be an amazing weekend. And I hope that it is for you and yours as well. I said this on our Thanksgiving postgame show, but I really am very, very grateful for those of you who give us some of your time. That's the most precious gift we can give in life. And it is not lost on me that you give me some of yours. So thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. We will see you next time. And as always, go Cowboys.